Hey, good morning, everyone. Bill here. I just wanted to create this video because I sent a newsletter out yesterday that I got a critique back from one of our clients who said it was too many words and that they didn't finish it. And I thought it was really one of the most important newsletters that I've written in a long time about generating wealth. And so the newsletter was titled, We Have About 5 Years to Become Insanely Wealthy. And I just decided to create this video so it make it easier for you to follow along with my thought process and make it easier to consume. So in 2016, I started talking to my family and my friends about Bitcoin. And at that time, Bitcoin was trading around $750 per token. And my family and friends thought I was absolutely crazy, that it was magic internet money, that it was a Ponzi scheme. And they convinced me not to buy it. But I was watching CNBC and hearing more about it in 2016. And then I realized that maybe Bitcoin really wasn't a thing, that blockchain, which is the technology that Bitcoin sits on top of, was really the profoundly interesting uh, piece of technology. So I created something called the blockchain investment strategy. And the idea was to invest in about 20 stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange that recognize blockchain technology as this absolutely incredible, disruptive, money-saving, efficient way to transact using the internet. And it was contained companies like NVIDIA, AMD, JP Morgan, the Chicago Mercantile, the Chicago Board of Trade, Microsoft, IBM. These were all the companies that saw blockchain and began testing it and figuring out how they could incorporate it in their own business. And I kept the faith. I didn't buy any Bitcoin. I didn't really own any cryptocurrency for the most part. But I kept the faith. But I was too early, and nobody cared about this strategy. It was too new. I was too early. And then later in 2017, I began hosting seminars around the Chicagoland area on how Bitcoin worked, how it could reduce the friction in financial services and sending money. I presented to the Illinois CPA Society. I drove all over the Chicagoland area. I presented to the Illinois CPA Society, the Financial Executives International, the Glenview Chamber of Commerce, the local Rotary Club, the North Suburban Financial Planning Group. I mean, I did the best I could to get out there and talk about Bitcoin and blockchain technology, but I was too early. People weren't ready to hear about it. And I continued talking about it on the radio, Catholic Talk Radio, Relevant Radio, a podcast series called the Cryptocurrency Rundown, the WBBM Noon Business Hour. I became very close friends with the producer, Andy Gersher, and I actually did the Andy Gersher's show called Gains with Andy Gersher. And it's a great, very successful podcast series. And I even won an award, an entrepreneurial award with the Daily Herald newspaper out in the northwest suburbs because they realized I was cutting edge in bringing Bitcoin to client portfolios, even though they didn't really fully understand what was going on. And again, because I was too early. And then at the end of 2017, at the beginning of 2018, I began allocating or purchasing very tiny bit of Bitcoin using the Grayscale Bitcoin Investment Trust. It was the only way for an investment advisor at the time to actually buy and own Bitcoin. And so we did pretty good. We rode the rally all the way up until 2018. We generated some good profits, and then Bitcoin crashed. And it crashed to $3,200 a token. And boy, I got emails and phone calls and people urging me to liquidate the positions. But I knew the Bitcoin cycle was very volatile and it had a lot of ups and downs until like 2020 to 2021 when Bitcoin fell from around $12,000 a token down to 8,000 a token. And then it finally surged to 103,000, kind of about where we're at right now. So Bitcoin started at $750 per token and it rallied to $103,000 per token. So I was right. I was just early. But then something happened. In January 5th of 2025, everything changed. Our new administration is embracing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The United States is even considering creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve stockpile. Kind of like our nation already owns energy and oil as a stockpile, as a strategic national asset. We stockpile vaccines and iodine and antibiotics, and cryptocurrency is poised to become another strategic asset for our country. Now, Wayne Gretzky said, he famously said that you have to skate to where you think the puck is going to where you think the puck is going to be. And I believe the puck is still headed toward cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. This means massive global adoption. It means that blockchain is revolutionizing the financial infrastructure, just as text messaging today is going to replace and did replace the fax machine, right, or the email machine. So currently, there's some cryptocurrency projects that are really interesting. Now, banks use something called Ripple or XRP. Onyx Coin will be more person to person kind of transacting of a digital US dollar. And a company called Alchemy and XFin are going to be companies that are more on the enterprise level, like large companies, and where we're putting real world assets on a tokenized blockchain. That's what the term tokenized means. It means rather than having a digital, like a certificate, like a stock certificate that proves ownership, ownership of assets are going on a blockchain. And it's going to bring the world online even bigger than before. This means that the velocity of money, how quickly money transfers, is going to go exponential. So soon in our lifetime, real estate, fine art, wine, even buildings and commercial real estate, you'll be able to text message that value of a building and ownership like you do a text message today. I mean, can you imagine if you're the owner of, say, the shopping mall, like Old Orchard Shopping Mall, and it's worth, let's say, 500 million, and you want to use it as collateral to buy another piece of property? You could text message ownership of Old Orchard Mall to somebody else and use it as collateral for a week or a month or a year. It's insane when you think about how this could be ramping up lending, collateral, and how money is even used and transferred. Now, the Federal Reserve upgraded its systems to a blockchain protocol called ISO 222. Now, if you're an auto mechanic or if you are in electronics or aerospace industry, you've heard of the ISO 9000 standard. It just means it's a standardized way of making a 9 millimeter socket or a 10 millimeter wrench or a 9/16 screwdriver. It's a way of standardizing a process of manufacturing. They've done that now in financial services. Now, the Chicago Mercantile, the Chicago Board of Trade, Chicago Board Option Exchange are moving away from T+3, which is transaction plus 3 days of settlement. And now we're at T+1, transaction plus 1 day, which means I can sell the stocks or ETFs in your 401k or in your regular investment accounts, and you can pretty much have the money the next day. That's T+1. And soon, by the fall of this year, we're going to have T+0 and intraday settlement, which means that the mercantile is already creating a system where you're going to be getting margin calls intraday and you'll be able to buy and sell futures contracts and pork bellies, the S&P 500, all sorts of financial instruments, and it's going to settle intraday, which means you can use that money for whatever you want. And if you believe that artificial intelligence is the future, if you think that robotics and autonomous cars, taxi cabs, and all these pieces of futuristic robotic material and industry is going to transact gold and silver coins and silver bullion, you are greatly mistaken. They're going to be transacting cryptocurrency to each other. So can you imagine that if you're a taxi cab company or a small fleet of autonomous driving cars, just like a Zumba goes back to its docking station and recharges, your autonomous vehicle or taxi cab is going to automatically send itself to a repair shop to get fixed. And it's going to be transacting in some kind of cryptocurrency or stable coin or a US digital dollar. Now, recently, just before the inauguration, President-elect Donald Trump released a meme coin called Trump Coin. Now, it was released on a Friday after the business close of Wall Street, and it skyrocketed from zero to a $75 billion market cap in 3 days. And the S&P 500 was closed, the New York Stock Exchange was closed, the banks were closed, and it was an incredible beta test of just how much money can be raised without the need of Goldman Sachs, without the need of an initial public offering, without the need of tons of regulatory framework and time and expense. Imagine if you're a company that can raise money using a cryptocurrency token, and you don't need the big banks to suck out all that money. It means you can go directly to the people for fundraising rather than going to the big investment banks. So I want you to suspend just for a moment what you think of Trump personally. He was making a statement saying, hey, you're invited to come to America and bring your artificial technology and your blockchain companies and your tech companies here to America. Because if I can do it, you can do it too. And I think that that's really the key point that we have to walk away with on this particular event. Now, I'm teaching a course on March 14th for about 2 hours on how we can invest in these cryptocurrency tokens. Now, I don't think Donald Trump is going to stop here. I think he could tokenize all his real estate holdings. What it means is, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but Donald Trump and other real estate investment trusts and other people are going to say, hey, I don't need to go to the big investment banks. I'm going to take the Old Orchard Shopping Mall, Golf Mill, the Mall of America, real estate, hotels, cash flow, golf courses, resorts, any asset is going to be on a blockchain. And the blockchain, rather than the individual shares of a company, say, are going to increase in value. As a matter of fact, just like you receive a Walmart dividend or a Walgreens dividend or a dividend from your other favorite companies, the company that's tokenized on a blockchain will pay its dividend stream in blockchain tokens, right? So it took really almost 8 years for my belief in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies to be validated. And now there are thousands and tens of thousands of really interesting projects and just a few pennies per token right now. So we're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of this incredible technology that's going to transform everything. And the potential for them rising 5 times, 10 times, 100 times their current value is happening right now. And I really want to bring you on this journey with me because I think that this is the most exciting way to build wealth in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Now, I have spent countless hours researching, marketing, speaking on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin versus gold, which is what we currently do. We're also using these high yield strategies and taking the dividend stream and buying Bitcoin exchange traded funds in this perpetual wheel to increase our Bitcoin holdings. Because again, the idea that Bitcoin is going to be a global one world currency, that Bitcoin is going to be a global reserve asset, just like we stockpile gold, we're going to begin stockpiling Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But I couldn't have this conversation with you before because I was too early. I still got a lot of pushback from many of you who I'm managing your 401ks and your IRAs and your traditional accounts. But now is the time I have to have this conversation with you. Because almost daily in the news is covering Trump coin, Melania coin, XRP, how the Federal Reserve is going to be using XRP to transmit money globally for virtually no cost and incredibly secure. Ethereum, Solana, which is the Ethereum killer, and hundreds of other token ideas. Now, maybe you guys already own some, and maybe you don't, and maybe you don't know how to buy them, but you'd like to. But that's okay, because I think we still have a little bit of time. We're still very early, but I believe that we have about a 5 year window to create incredible life-changing wealth. This is the kind that pays off mortgages. It wipes away all your credit card debt. It completely funds your children's college fund or your grandkids' college funds. And it makes for potentially a secure retirement. Now, of course, there's no guarantees. Cryptocurrency and this whole thing is it's new and it's risky. And it's kind of like buying a lottery ticket in many cases. However, the Powerball lottery in Illinois has a 200 million to 1 odds of winning. And then the card expires, right? The ticket expires the next day. But with cryptocurrency, your odds, I think, are significantly much better because they don't technically expire. And so we have an opportunity of seizing this opportunity in building wealth in this huge financial revolution. Just like the internet revolutionized our way of life. And maybe it's working in the background and you don't really see it working. Or maybe you take it for granted, like when you're using GPS or sending a text message or ordering an Uber or getting Uber Eats delivered to your home. The next 5 years or 10 years, artificial intelligence and blockchain technology is going to reshape everything. It's going to shift global economies. It's going to fuel discussions on potentially universal basic income. And keeping money in a checking account while inflation erodes your wealth, like we just can't do that any longer. Bitcoin, despite its volatility, has averaged between 47% and 65% annually return over the last 15 years. And it still remains the most popular and most profitable asset class that's ever been invented. So it's volatile, but it pays off. And actually, there's many tokens that are gone up 10 times more than Bitcoin. So here's the basic plan I'm going to share with you, but I want to have this conversation with you. And I need you guys to reach out to me because you're my core client base, right? So we're going to have to download an app on your phone or on your desktop computer from Coinbase and open up an account. We're going to have to connect a checking account that's going to be used for speculation and buying these cryptocurrencies. Now, I don't care if it's $100, $200, $1,000, whatever you can fit, whatever your risk level is. And in a perfect world, you would become a client of Senecal Capital Management by buying or transferring over an additional Roth IRA, or maybe you have other assets away that maybe they're not performing very well, and we can bring them over to Senecal Capital Management because there's things I can do inside your IRA, your Roth IRA, or your rollover IRA that can help make money and get on board this crazy financial revolution that I think is going to be happening. And we're just going to start with a 1 to a 4% allocation of your net worth, or maybe of just the portfolio value. We don't have to do a lot in order to make really good rate of return. And then also going to be sharing with you other opinions and research from other experts who are doing the same thing. So I'm out there spending my day in front of my laptop, looking for interesting content providers and influencers who are having this conversation. Because you got to think back in 1999 to 2001 when the bubble burst, right? The internet bubble broke. Nobody imagined that Google, Amazon, Nvidia would have become trillion-dollar companies back then. And it took 20 years for that to happen. And the same thing is going to happen with blockchain and cryptocurrency. Some of these are going to crash and burn, like WorldCom or Global Crossing. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. General Motors went bankrupt. And Pets.com went bankrupt. Yet the technology is still here, even though the company might be gone. In blockchain companies are almost becoming too big to fail. At least they will be too big to fail. So one of these days, when a blockchain or cryptocurrency company goes bankrupt, they're going to ask the Federal Reserve for help. They're going to go to their congressman and ask for help because blockchain companies were the biggest political contributor in the 2024 election. And so what companies and what projects are going to lead? Is it going to be JP Morgan, IBM, Ethereum, Solana, XRP? Who knows? So we're going to have a portfolio of like 50 of these things, knowing that 20% are only going to win, but they're going to win big, right? This is going to be the life-changing money that is going to take us into the future. So if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to trust me, I can grow. I have firm belief that we can increase your wealth we can double, triple, 5x your wealth by some of these cryptocurrency projects that are going on now. And they're pennies on the dollar, pennies. Some of them are less than a penny. And I don't think that the world even knows what's going to hit them. I can tell you right now from my radio interviews, 99% of the globe is completely unaware about what's going to hit them in terms of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. But we know what's going on. We know what's going to happen. We're just early. And so please get back to me as soon as you can. Message me on our FINRA app. Give me a phone call. Let's have a conversation. Send me a text message, whatever it takes. Get back to me and let me know if you want to take this journey with me because the new Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is a Wall Street guy, and he's going to pump up this economy. He's going to provide liquidity. And yes, we're going to have our ups and downs, but I am telling you with 100% conviction that artificial intelligence and blockchain technology is the new internet over the next 20 years. And I'm going to be on this board of the train, and I want to take you with me. So please reach out to me. Say, Bill, yes, I trust you, and I want to do this. And I will I'll be with you every step of the way. I'll help you do this. So thanks again for listening to this very long dissertation on what the future is going to be, what's ahead of us. And again, thank you for being a trusted client of Senecal Capital Management and trusting me with your 401k and your IRA. I am telling you, this is the next big thing, and we're still early. Thank you.